Well, we are always enthralled when we get to talk about spiders and mosquitoes.
Well, the little zoo Miami thing discovers a new species of spider in South Florida. That just amused me. I don't know why, it just did. I have a fondness for arachnids. I know people don't like them, but they really are our
Well,
friends.
I understand. Well, look, my best friend growing up, I mean, he's like, he thinks he's a tough guy, but when it comes to spiders
Yeah.
or bugs in general, he's a scare. He's like a titmouse.
Yeah, I'm like, I have a very healthy respect for arachnids. But the other story that's really not good, that's interesting, which is there is going to be a release of genetically modified mosquitoes over the Keys. And this has been approved. They've been trying to do
Why
this
does it
since
sound like a
2016.
really, really, really bad idea?
Okay, so I dug into this. I think it's important that people understand this. So it really is so untested properly, and they can't even make good enough predictions, but yet they're so willing to do this. I would encourage everyone to check this out if you haven't. So how this works is they're saying that they're doing this to help help prevent spread of diseases that mosquitoes do, like Zika and dengue virus and all those things, which I'm sure.
Dengue fever.
Is that how you said? Whatever. Yeah, right. So, but here's how this works. So they have these genetically modified male mosquitoes. They release the male mosquitoes into certain places at the right time, so that when the native female mosquitoes mate with those genetically modified male mosquitoes, the offspring will be that doesn't live to adulthood. So it's basically what they're claiming is they're going to be reducing the amount of airborne or mosquito-borne illness by reducing the amount of the adult mosquito population. However, this has only been tried that they've shown in Brazil, and they have absolutely no real results. And they also say that what happens is it only breeds, that the females die, the baby females die, only male mosquitoes bite. And so by killing off the female population,
you're controlling the population.
It's doing a few different things, is what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. Doesn't mean that that's what's happening.
So in the meantime,
you've all seen Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Well, no, all right. That's okay. That's a little paranoid. But what has happened is they're not necessarily seeing the death rates of adult mosquitoes that they would. And now there are variants of half GM mosquitoes that are just living and flying around. Now, maybe that doesn't change anything. I don't know. And I'm not being like, Jurassic Park paranoid, but correct. I don't know. You're creating a species of something. I mean, we have enough issues with species migrating unnaturally or being migrated, like things like people bringing iguanas or different things into countries that end up taking over their local ecosystem. Like we have pythons in the Everglades. They're not supposed to be there, and they're screwing with the ecosystem. So when I talk about genetically modified mosquitoes, one, it has not been shown that it helps in any way stop the spread of disease. And two, they have no other further information, because this was done recently, what this could do. So in other words, why would we be doing it?
Well, that's one of the arguments when you think about where people, well, of course it's about profit, but there's also the possibility that you could be contracting something very dangerous. I mean, genetically modified mosquitoes.
Well, right. And the research that they have is very, like, it's not like it's bad. It's not like it shows that people are dying or whatever. It just shows that it's not doing anything. There's no evidence that it's doing anything, and yet it's interfering with the nature of things. So I have a problem with this. A lot of the people in the Keys, actually, go figure, don't want a bunch of genetically modified mosquitoes released over their homes.
And why would they?
Why would they want that?
No.
So maybe it has something to do with property values. I don't know. So they don't want this. They are protesting it. Obviously, I'm opposed to anything. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it, people.
I think we're also, that's another thing that I think is going to be.
There's so much money that this has been trying to get through, and they've spent so much money fighting for this at this point that that it's got to be about big bucks.
Well, that's what I'm thinking as well. But as the climate continues to change in the wrong direction, I'm often wondering, what type of diseases are we going to be dealing with because of the fact that it's not going to be proper seasonal change, even for Florida.
Well, and that's what they say, of course, is going to increase mosquito transferred illnesses, which is why they're saying that we need to do this. I'm just not believing it. So just for people to be aware, this is going to be the first time in this country that this has happened. Yep. And so we're getting to be the guinea pigs, or at least the people in the Keys. It's basically in the northern part of the Keys, but south of the peninsula, are going to get to be the very first recipients of genetically modified mosquitoes. So,
I don't know. That doesn't sound very appealing to me.
No. So anyway, that's happening.
Very concerned about that.
I don't like it at all. And we at some point I can have somebody come on and talk much more in detail about this. I had reached out tonight and it was too last minute of a thing, but I could get somebody to come on and talk about this more. But yep, genetically modified mosquitoes coming soon.
That's one, like I said, of many issues. We were out small business canvassing the other day, and this is mid-April, and it's already in the 90s. I mean, if you ask me, that's pretty scary. We're heading for probably triple digits and massive humidity. Like you said, there are many places in this country that you can go to where when you're in a shady area, at least you're not taking the brunt of the heat. Whereas unfortunately down here, even if you're in the shade, you still feel it full force.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's definitely brutal.
So Florida just continues to prove that we really are the limp weenie of the whole country. We really are. We aren't doing anything to improve our standing.
Flaccid Florida.
We are flaccid Florida. And with that said, I still think it's I still think it's very likely that DeSantis is going to win re-election because again, our opposition doesn't involve dealing with these primary issues. That
we don't have an opposition. We don't have an opposition.
If all you do is
we have a blue team that just votes for whoever it is that the blue team decides is who they're going to vote for.
Well, it's not only that, but what you also have to remember.
Not opposition.
Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough is if you are going to oppose, what are you offering? Because I pay attention to what Nikki Fried says. I pay attention to, any of the potential up and comers that are trying to, challenge and take shape of this whole political landscape that's building and trying to fill their lane, so to speak. But all I keep hearing constantly is about how bad the GOP is. Once again, this is the difference between corporate versus non-corporate. When you're dealing with corporate, it's all about the other side is evil. We got to get away from them. They're terrible. The non-corporate people say the same thing, only they have solutions. They actually say things like, yeah, we need to expand Medicaid to cover the entire state, which is essentially single-payer healthcare at the state level. Then, of course, you talk about the environmental issues that we have. We cannot be taking money from Big Sugar and NextEra Energy if we have any intention of actually dealing with the environmental crisis that we have in the state. And that, of course, is not going to happen. So if you do have real solutions, whether you're running for office locally, countywide, statewide, there's a lot of things that you can do to really prove that that's what you're fighting for. But again, that's only going to happen if, in fact, you are not taking that corporate cash, because that's what defines you. That is, it is what makes the difference. And so it's very interesting that this bill just passed, and we have Earth Day coming up in 3 days. Because we have Earth Day coming up,
Earth Day,
and especially here in South Florida, the one thing you could say in South Florida is that we do have a lot of environmental activists. There are a lot of people that really care about what's going on. And how could you not? You live it every day. The environment is getting very, very dangerous as far as I'm concerned. And just as Vice President Harris let it slip the other day about how we're going to have wars for water. Oh, she ain't kidding.
No, but that's okay. They don't mind because they're going to make sure that their friend Jeff Bezos is the one who owns the water. So he'll have the water. And then we'll all just be fighting wars to get whatever scraps they decide to throw over from the over the side of the moat.
Is that why they are? Is that why Bill Gates is also getting so thoroughly involved with buying up farmland?
Oh, he's been doing it in Africa for decades.
Yeah.
We don't know a lot here. We don't get a lot of that news, but Bill Gates and what he's been doing in Africa regarding food production and sustainability is horrifying on so many levels. And we don't even hear about it here. So yes, basically you're having people are going to have sole ownership of our food supply and water supply. That's where this is going. So I'm glad that Kamala is recognizing the importance there while she's, sucking on the corporate teat of everybody that's causing the problem.
Maybe she intentionally did something like that. That's all I can say. Maybe she intentionally did something like that. And I'm not, maybe there is a part of her that really does care, that really doesn't want this to become a big deal. And she wants people to be aware, and she could claim, oh, I didn't really mean it that way, and I didn't want to scare anybody. But the truth is, I think she is scared, and this is a really big deal.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.